Welcome to DigCit Impact 2019 during DigCit Summit. My name is Rachel Murat, and I teach a digital citizenship class at Maine-Endwell High School, which is right outside of Binghamton, New York. Back in 2014, I realized that we had many more Chromebooks in our building, and I wanted to make sure that the kids who were not only navigating the space of the digital world in school, but outside of school, were learning how to do that in a way that was not going to leave a permanent mark on their social brand and who they would become in the future. So really, I wanted to make them aware of their future selves. And one of the ways I thought we could do that was by introducing a digital citizenship class. And so I've been teaching this class every semester since then. It is open to 10th through 12th graders because typically our 9th grade classes, students are, their schedules are too full in order for this elective to fit in. So this class has evolved throughout the years to accommodate new social media platforms, increased level of awareness for students, and just what's out there for the kids to learn. And much of what we do in our class is student-driven. So I'm going to explain one of the projects that we worked on back in 2017. So we had been talking about trolls and haters, and the difference between a hater and a troll, and the fact that, you know, people will go out of their way to post things as comments or on people's Facebook pages that, you know, are meant to enrage someone and don't really serve any purpose other than the fact that they are spreading hate or they are going in and starting a fight with something. And so the kids and I had been investigating, you know, what all that entails, and I came to school on the morning of October 2nd, 2017, to watch and listen to the tragedy in Las Vegas unfold. And we were still learning about it because we're on the East Coast when the kids got to school, and they had lots of questions, which, you know, is normal for high schoolers. And they want to know, well, what is everything, you know, what's going on? What is the news showing us? And so we investigated, we stopped what we were doing. And it was first period class. I remember we came in and we looked at what the news reports were, and some of the kids saw some of the comments rolling in, and we didn't really know anything about it yet. We didn't know, you know, what the situation was. We didn't know what the motive was. We didn't know any information about the shooting itself other than the fact that it had happened. And so they got looking at the comments on the news stations and saw that there were a lot of people putting hateful comments about the victims, and we didn't even know anything about the victims. And so they really got talking about the fact that this is ridiculous and that they wanted to do something about it. And so they decided that we were going to have a week of positivity. And so we stopped what we were doing again and we brainstormed, what can we do? And so they came up with 5 days of activities for us to participate in. Some were online, some were offline. For example, we had hot chocolate set up in the Welcome Center for people to enjoy for free when they came into school. We had stickers that we were handing out. Some kids went to the mall and handed out candies and compliments. And one of the things that the kids wanted to do was they wanted to hold a Twitter chat to spread positivity. And I said, absolutely, because I'm all about kids using social media for good. And I felt like this is a perfect example of that. And so what the students did was they talked about, all right, well, what kind of questions do we want to ask? When do we want to have that during the day? And more importantly, what's the hashtag we're going to use so that people can connect on Twitter? And so they decided that the hashtag they wanted to use was positively kind. And so they came up with positively kind as the hashtag, and we all promoted it. The kids came up with the questions themselves, and we wound up holding the chat from 7:45 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. Back in October of 2017. So we did a little bit of advertising for it. I messaged some people I had on social media. The kids reached out to people that they had. We asked people to retweet the information that about the chat and to get people to join. So Friday morning comes and the kids are very, very excited about the chat. they had previously loaded in not only the questions, because the kids were the moderators of the chat as well. I literally didn't do anything but sit back and watch in awe of what they accomplished. And they preloaded in their answers, and so they were ready to respond to the Twitter chat participants. And so it was interesting because we had administrators in here, we had parents in here, we had community members in here, and they were all very excited about it. And then as soon as the Twitter chat started, it was dead silence because the kids were so into responding to the people in our chat. And it was really interesting because I had one student who kept saying, "Oh my gosh, there's Tennessee," or "Oh my gosh, there's Illinois," or "Oh my gosh, there's Australia." Because as you can see, one of the questions we asked was from what state you were tweeting. And we never imagined that this was going to go international. So as that student kept yelling out all the places, I said, you know what, on Monday, let's map this out, which we did, and I'll show you in a minute. So we wound up being the #1 trending hashtag for this half an hour. We had over 1,000 tweets. And if you want to read more about the Twitter chat experience, you can go back to my blog, which is spartansocialstudies.blogspot.com. And it's under the heading breaking the internet with positivity. And so these questions really got the kids thinking and connecting with people all over the world, which you'll see in a second. And for example, when they were mapping them, you can see that, obviously we had a lot of people in the Northeast because, 7:45 is really early out on the West Coast. And so they were very excited that they had all of those. But then when you add in the people that were international, and I am aware that this is not anywhere where anybody lives in Australia, but they didn't specifically say where in Australia they were from. So the kids just dropped a pin there. And the best part about this was the responses that we got from the participants were not only that this was a great way for them to start the day, but that the kids were making connections and continued the conversations from this Twitter chat far into the weekend. We had a couple kids come out with connections that got them internships for gap years. They were able to put this as part of their social brand because I challenged my students to become digital leaders, and this was a way that they could show that they were digital leaders. So one of the things I think that's important is that we're not only modeling appropriate usage of social media, but also the fact that we're teaching kids how to use social media for good and for to build their social brand. So I'd love to connect if you have any questions, or you want to join our class, or you'd like to be part of an activity. Please reach out to me on Twitter at Mrs. Murat, or email, or through Instagram. Thank you.